Welcome to Energy Linguist, a sacred space for awakening souls ready to learn how language shapes consciousness and discover what energy has been speaking all along. I am Laura Ahern, the Energy Linguist, a spiritual channel and the founder of Linguistic Consciousness Studies. In this podcast, I share divine transmissions and teach you to decode the language shaping your consciousness so that you can heighten your intuition, claim your calling, and learn to create consciously instead of unconsciously. Take a breath. This is where unconscious creation becomes creative mastery. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Energy Linguist Podcast. I am your host, Laura Ahern, and I am so delighted to have you here with me today as we dive into these deeper nuances of your energy to set you free from some limits you may have been experiencing lately. Today, we are diving in to what is in the way of the change you are seeking. Because if you are here, you are an awakening soul. And what that means is naturally, meaning in your spiritual nature, you are here to create positive change in the world. And within this journey, this soul's desire to create positive change, we often start to try really hard to wrestle with the outside world so that that change can become the new world that we're living in. Many of us spiritually driven business owners, spiritually guided souls who are here to touch other lives, who have made it our mission to love others, support our family, invite new clients into higher awareness, are often wrestling with the wrong type of energy. Oftentimes we feel that we have to convince or adjust the outside world in order to bring them into a greater state of peace or satisfaction. And what you're going to learn today is that you may be investing your energy in the wrong place. Our energy, in truth, is best invested within the self. As a brilliant quote from Hermes says, "As above, so below. As within, so without." The truth is that everything that has come into material form, everything that has been made manifest, was once only imagined. It existed in the invisible vibration of the imagination. And so all things that are now materialized in this densest expression that can be seen, felt, experienced, were once invisible. And the way in which your life can change the greatest, the way in which you can impact people the greatest, is from this invisible vibrational core. And so today, we're going to give you some highest guidance around how to really embrace this within your own life, to understand what it looks like so that you can make a choice within the being, within the self, that allows you to get around the limit that has been in the way. So I hope you're ready to dive in to this really beautiful message. What many of you know about me is that I am the founder of Linguistic Consciousness Studies. I am the creator of the Linguistic Consciousness Method. And within this method, what I teach is that language is much more than verbal. It's much more than even our thoughts or our subconscious thoughts or even our physical body language. Language is energetic. It's vibrational. In fact, the first language you ever learn is energy. It's not spoken. It's not even consciously understood yet, right? We haven't applied thoughts or conscious conclusions to it yet. It's vibrational exchange. It's how your very being gets brought into human form. And I teach this to people in my Honorea Reiki certification and trainings how to read the language of energy. And within my courses, we explore language and all the layers from the most conscious level of our spoken awareness, those surface thoughts, to the thoughts beneath, right? The ones that are actually more true than the surface, and then deeper into the unconscious ones, which most of us are unaware of. It's why I utilize my lore light integration method to heal, release, and replace these programmed subconscious thoughts, the language that is actually creating your reality from the unseen spaces in your being. So, in truth, the language of our entire system is a vibration. It starts with a vibration. It becomes more dense into these expressions of language and thoughts and emotions. However, regardless of what area of language you're aware of, the truth is it's creating your reality. And so today I want to talk to you about the vibration of that language might be influencing your life, because there's a specific area of this vibration of language that is actually stronger in your life right now than you might think. And it comes to the core of this as within, so without. What is in the way of the change you're seeking is a invisible battle that is happening within the system. A lot of people say they want change. They want a better life, more success, more freedom, more peace. And their actions tend to be very different, because what is required for us to have a different life, to be different, is simply to be different. Now, I want you to hear that for a moment. In order for things to be different, we need to stop being the same. So there's many people who are saying, and you may be one of them, you might be having this tug of war happening within the system right now. You might be saying, I want all the stuff. I want the impact. I want the new clients. I want the higher elevated way of existing, the healthy reciprocal relationships, the abundance, the ease. But I don't want anything to change. There is the irony in our system that a part of us might be seeking substantial change, while another piece of us doesn't want any change at all. We want the impact, the wealth, the healthy reciprocal relationships. But we don't want to let go of friends. We don't want to break ties with family that we know keep us trapped in dynamics of identifying ourselves that aren't in alignment with the highest identity we must hold in order to fulfill upon the dreams we have. We want new experiences, new income, but we don't want to leave the job, or we don't want to let go of the clients we're currently serving. We want to see new horizons. We want to travel, but we don't want to leave this town, this state, this place, this familiar circle of patterns. And it's human nature. We are evolutionarily wired to seek the known and the familiar because it's been experienced, which means our brains believe that we can somehow stay safer when we know what to expect. It's why a lot of people don't physically leave spaces that they're familiar with. Now, the greatest challenge behind this is that when we continue to wake up and refamiliarize ourselves with the same people, places, circumstances over and over and over again, we continue to reaffirm to our system that we are the same person. So often, even if you're doing the deep inner work, if you are not removing yourself from some of the familiar that keeps reinforcing the old identity to you, it is unlikely that you will ever fully break free of the chains of that identity. So some people may grow into a place of being more successful than they once were within those spaces, those relationships, those circumstances. However, the highest potential that is available will never be anchored will never be truly experienced or fulfilled upon if we don't get to be very intentional and selective about the exposure to the environments, to the relationships, the places, whatever it is for us in our life, the circumstances that we keep refamiliarizing ourselves with. We need to come from a place of truly believing in who we desire to be, what our soul is calling us towards, what is possible for us in order to make a conscious choice to step away from things that keep us trapped in an identity that no longer serves us. Most people say they want to be free. Freedom is the energy of the throat chakra. And in short, they say verbally, out loud, you may even hear them, I want to be more free. But they won't make the choice to set themselves free. So I want you to hear this, because when we think of throat chakra energy, often we are thinking of the vibration of spoken language. And there's much more to expression and language than the externalized spoken language. What we speak inside our system is imperative. And as it becomes more invisible and more challenging to track, is actually where it becomes most impactful in our life. Because if we keep saying out loud, I want change, I want change, I want to be free, but then inside we don't feel like we want to change, truly want to change, meaning we're willing to make a choice to act in accordance with this higher identity of the self, then the change will not happen. It doesn't matter. You could talk until you're blue in the face about it. The change will never anchor into your life. What is required for you to be different is to stop being the same. The vibration underneath even the loudest words of the desire of change is often, I don't really want change at all. I want the change, but I don't want my life to change. And now I know many of you may be experiencing a lot of uncomfortable situations, and maybe you're saying, no, Laura, I really, really want my life to change. Do you? But do you? I want you to ask yourself in honesty, in compassionate honesty, look at your actions. Are they saying they actually want change? Or are they saying, I really want to mold the things I'm familiar with into a state that they can grow with me? I want to change the things that are currently in my life so that I don't have to let them go. I want to grow beyond this container, but I don't want to leave this container. I want you to feel into that for a moment. The truth is in our actions. The majority of our actions are unconscious. 95% of our thoughts each day are unconscious. They're recycled. Yesterday's thoughts. We move from them in an automated way. Why? Because our brain, our system, is an efficiency mechanism. It becomes so practiced at things so that it can direct its resources to other things. It's why you have an automatic nervous system. The system beats your heart, allows you to breathe, allows your entire infinitely intelligent system to run without you having to be consciously aware of it. The autonomous nervous system is powerful. And it's an efficiency mechanism, because if you had to remember to tell yourself to breathe, that is what your entire being would be consumed by. And it wouldn't even have the space to tell the cells to do all of the things that you are not even consciously aware that your cells are doing. So in truth, we need our system to be efficient. We need it to be automated. And yet there are pieces of it that divinity is inviting you into the conscious direction of. On this planet, all things you see and experience hold the source of infinite intelligence within them. Every plant, every animal, every rock, every tree, every breeze, all the things that you are experiencing, seen and unseen, hold infinite intelligence. We are a part of one collective whole. The difference about you is that you also hold the source of God within you. You are not just inspired and protected by the Creator. You are of the Creator. You are one with the Creator. And God granted you the source of creation through your wonderful human imagination. The ability to direct your thoughts consciously, intentionally. This means you always have a choice. And so even though you may be experiencing your actions in a very unconscious way, we all have examples of this. Imagine getting up in the middle of the night, being half asleep, and making it to the bathroom and back. That's very unconscious. You're not necessarily putting a ton of thought into that. It's pretty automated. We know where to go. We become really familiar with our surroundings. We don't have to interrupt the pattern too much to make it from point A to point B. And today, you're being invited into breaking the mold of unconscious patterning by coming in to deeper intentionality and conviction with your choices. If you truly do want your life to change, your circumstances to change, if you want to really see what's in the way of the change that you're seeking, the answer is to pay attention to your actions, because you're acting in accordance with a belief that you hold. Now, I pause there. It's not just a belief you hold about what's possible for you, though in part it is. It's also programmed beliefs about obligation, about what you are required to do, what actions make you a good person, a valuable person, what actions make you important. And because of all of these external identifiers and labels, we're often continuing to act in accordance in ways that we feel we have to, because we were taught this is what keeps me safe, this is what keeps me important, this is what keeps me loved. And we never realize that we're not actually challenging that. We're trying to hold all of those elements of the old identity while claiming a new identity. If your cup is filled with an old identity, there's no space for the new. You can't fill yourself with more, no matter how much internal work you do, until you're willing to start behaving as the person you desire to be. That change will not take form. It comes from an invisible vibrational core. And in fact, if you want to learn more about what has been in the way for you and the limits in your life, I want to invite you to visit lauraahern.com and check out the free masterclass Soul Codex. It's going to walk you through all of the nuances of your system so that you can start to understand what's actually been in the way of you releasing these limits to set you free, so that you can more easily act in accordance with the person you say you desire to be. Soul Codex will help you to understand why you've been unconsciously leaning into your familiar zone. You've been unconsciously attaching yourself to the old identity in which you do not desire to hold anymore. Many souls want the alleviation from their current circumstances. They want the alleviation from what has become so familiar to them. They know they need it. They know that they are being called forward because of the amount of pain and discomfort in their lives. Physical chronic pain, emotionally chronic pain, mentally chronic discomfort. Those are all symptoms that the system, the being, doesn't actually feel safe in the familiar zone. It's why you don't hear me call it the comfort zone, because the comfort zone is often anything but safe. It's actually just simply familiar. And though you can desire to want the alleviation from that familiar zone, most people don't often want to experience the discomfort of the unfamiliar zone, the unknown. And so I want to break down for you a little nuance here. Both experiences, whether you're staying in the familiar or whether you are moving into the unfamiliar, both will trigger survival. You're in a human body, so you're constantly surviving. The goal is to not stay in a chronic state of surviving so that you can move into thriving. However, you're still going to have to survive in your environments. And so what's the difference? If survival will be triggered in either environment, what's the difference here? The difference is that staying in the familiar zone puts you in the chronic state of survival. There's no rise. There's no evolution of the being. It's just a cycling, a dismantling, a breaking down of the system, a depletion of the vital life resources. However, when you're looking at survival, when you're seeking the new, the survival is triggered not by this chronic, repetitive processing and coping with what is unsafe or what is unaligned, but instead the survival ignites because the mind does not yet know what to expect on the path. And though our system says that's scary because I can't promise you'll stay safe, I'm here to tell you, maybe, but it's also really exciting because what you're saying is you don't want more of the same. If you know what to expect, you probably don't want it. You're seeking something new. And so the difference in the skills that are required when we're in these states of survival is that when you're in the chronic state of survival, you are using practiced skills that you've chronically used. It's why you feel like you know what to do there. It's unconscious at this point. It's automated survival that is depleting you. It's killing you. It's draining you. However, when you step into the unfamiliar, what's happening is that you're not using practice skills per se. You might be building upon them, but what you're doing is you're developing new skills. So both require survival skills. But there's something different that the unfamiliar new road requires that the old familiar does not. Self-trust. Both experiences, you must practice the survival or develop the survival. But in order for you to choose to step forward into the unknown, to actually step into the life that you say you're seeking, the change you say you desire, you need to trust yourself. It's not about trusting that there won't be a challenge. There is a challenge if you stay, and there's a challenge if you go. The element that is most important for you to anchor within your being is the self-trust. And in order for us to trust ourselves, we must inherently know that we are valuable. We must value ourselves. Because when you know that you are valuable, that you're important, you trust your opinions, you trust your judgments. And I'm here to tell you today that you are being invited in by divinity to trust yourself. No matter what road you choose, there is no avoiding pain and challenges. Period. You are a human on this journey through life, meaning your spirit in human form, which means within the human being, we are always going to experience both things that we perceive as positive and negative, good and bad, unpolarized experiences. We require both to grow, one in which we're seeking and the other in which is our invaluable teacher. It's our sage wisdom, the pain, the challenges. You actually don't want to avoid them all. Our system, our survival system says you do, but your spirit knows better. It's why it actually seeks out the challenges. It seeks the souls that will awaken you. Some will awaken you by their love and just their belief in you, while others will awaken you by the opposite, by the devaluing of you, by challenging you to have to choose yourself over them. Understand no matter what path you choose, you're going to run into challenges, pain, opportunities to derive wisdom. Feel that. The difference is that when you choose, truly choose, by acting in accordance with what you believe is possible for you, by loving yourself enough to know that the things you desire, the differentness you want to attract and experience in your life is really meant for you, and you deserve it, you will choose to get out of your familiar zone, to move into the unfamiliar, and to do it with unwavering trust that whatever comes, you will manage at the proper time, with the proper guidance, knowing you are unwaveringly, infinitely supported and held. And so my invitation for you today is to be compassionately honest with yourself, to look into the system of language, not just the things you say you want, but in what way in your system might you be negating that? In what way in your system might you be creating a bit of a tug-of-war around what you say you desire? And are you truly willing to pay the price of opening space in your life so that you can receive more? Together on another podcast, we will go into this a little deeper when we talk about the prices that we pay, because there's always a price that gets paid when we decide to change and evolve. And so I'm here to tell you, you can do all things that you believe you can do. You can rise to all levels that you are being inspired to rise to, and you are held in all the choices you make. They all can serve you if you allow them to. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm grateful for the time you spend with me, and I cannot wait until we're together again. Blessings to you always. Namaste. Thank you for receiving these messages with an open heart. If you're ready to trust your intuition, read the energy speaking through your life, and claim the calling waiting for you, it's time to begin with the rise. Through the rise, you can become trained in Honorea Reiki, the first sovereign woman-channeled Reiki lineage in history, and receive a full year of healing, mentorship, and community. Visit lauraahern.com/rise to find out more. Everything you need to know is already speaking to you, and I can teach you to translate it. Until next time, trust what you feel, honor what you know, and watch your language. It's creating everything.